just waiting for, oh, she's here. Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God, right on time. I'm so glad we made this work.
Yeah. Well, for me, not knowing how to do Instagram, it's, let's see if I can get a little bit better.
Awesome. So we're actually right on time too. So this is so great. Thank you for everyone for joining today. I'm so excited to be joined by human design specialist and biofield tuning practitioner, Sandra Lee. I am Diana. I'm the CMO of the Holistic Panda. Thank you to everyone who follows us and who follows our wellness content. We are a discovery and booking platform for a diverse range of alternative holistic therapies, and our mission, our North Star, is really to help the Asian community find wellness and embrace self-care. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Sandra. As I mentioned, she specializes in human design and biofield tuning, but she also has over 20 years of experience in different healing modalities. So she is really an expert in this field. Sandra, welcome.
Hi.
I'm so glad we made this work. I think it's like, especially if we're right on time too. I was a little bit nervous since this is the first time we're doing a live chat as well. So
excellent.
How are you doing?
Wonderful. And I'm really happy to be part of Holistic Panda and to have you invite me to join you today. Learning something.
And if anyone has questions about human design, please drop them into the chat. Sandra is an expert in this, and it's such an interesting specialty that I think not a lot of people know about. But what's really more interesting about you, I feel like, is your background. You study chemistry at Caltech. Caltech, it's like, I don't even know. I don't think that it gets kind of more prestigious than that in terms of, higher education. And how does like a Caltech grad go from being a chemistry major to becoming, a holistic practitioner?
Well, it was kind of a long journey, obviously. And I actually got my degree, but I knew before graduation, like after my junior year, that I didn't want to do chemistry. And I decided to go ahead and finish. If I'm going to do all of that, my parents are going to put all that money into me going to school, I'm going to get the degree out of it. So I'm glad I did that. But I knew after that I wasn't going to continue doing chemistry. And so I moved back up to where my parents lived at the time, which was in Berkeley. And I just got a job doing clerical work. And I started studying acupressure at that time. And that was my first beginning into doing healing work. And I've been there ever since.
Awesome. And how did you discover human design? And tell us, what is human design in a nutshell? I know it's kind of complicated, but yeah, if you can simplify it for our viewers here.
Most people are going to be familiar with astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So astrology is based on where the planets were at the time you were born. And it tells you a lot about who you are, about your life, about the sorts of things that are going to happen to you. And human design is the same way. I learned about human design after having, for many years, decided I should be interested in astrology. And I had astrology readings numerous times over the years, and they hadn't made any sense to me at all. Like, it didn't seem to have any practical relevance for me and my life. Mm-hmm. So I thought that the positions of the planets didn't matter to me. Other people might live their lives based on those things, but it didn't affect me. And then I listened to my teacher, Karen Curry Parker, talking about human design on a teleseminar. She was talking to thousands of people. She wasn't talking to me. But I learned things about myself and my life that are practical and relevant every day. Even now, like 8 years later.
Yeah.
So I thought that the positions of the planets didn't matter to me. And I found out that they actually really do. And so I jumped into learning about human design through Karen's training program. And I do human design readings for people now. And I'm still skeptical about the positions of the planets making a difference. And so I still am shocked every time when I do a reading for someone and I ask them a question based on their chart, and it's like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. So let me show you a chart. This is my chart. And you can see that this is where the planets are. The black column is where the planets were at the time I was born.
Right.
And the red column is where the planets were approximately 3 months before I was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And each of those planetary positions there colors in black or red in the chart. And then where two come together, that's what colors in the shapes.
Oh, wow.
Creates what we call definition.
Okay. So what does all that mean? So what can a human design chart tell us about ourselves?
Really good question. So I could talk about any one chart for hours.
Mm-hmm.
There is an overwhelming amount of information in it.
Yeah.
And there are several different types of readings that we can do. One just looks at the general themes that are in the person's chart and helps them understand themselves, their lives, their relationships, the sorts of things they're good at, the things that they might find challenging, and how all of that plays together in their life. And I help people be able to take things that aren't necessarily the way they want them to be and help to optimize them. So one of the things that you suggested when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today was what sorts of intriguing client stories.
I'd love to hear.
So one that always comes to mind was someone who decided she wanted to do both Biofield Tuning and human design with me. And when it came to talking about human design, her question was that there is this thing about my life that I don't like. People are always coming to me wanting help from me. Mm-hmm. They have questions. They're always coming at me. And she felt like, why doesn't anybody ever ask me about me?
Yeah.
Or want to help me? So it really bothered her.
Yeah.
That everybody was always coming to her for help, for questions, and all this stuff. And what came out of the reading was, this is your gift.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you contribute to people and to the world. They come to you seeking what you offer.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally changed it for her.
Mm-hmm.
It went from being something that really bothered her, like, why is everybody always asking me for help?
Right.
To, oh, this is my opportunity to serve.
Right.
To make a difference.
Right.
And so it's like it takes something that someone might be struggling with,
right,
or not understand, or not like about themselves and their life, and turn it into, oh, this is my gift.
Right.
It totally changes things.
Oh, that's amazing.
Completely changes things.
So for someone who, I think a lot of us, especially in the Asian culture growing up, we have these expectations of who we need to be. I mean, not just Asian culture, but especially as Asians, get the good job, go to the good school, get the 9-to-5 job, climb the corporate ladder. And it's very difficult for us to make big life transitions and especially major life pivots. For you definitely went from, a Caltech grad to an unconventional path in holistic wellness. So for, someone who is trying to make that transition or trying to pivot their life, how does human design help them find their North Star and help them find, a lot of people say, what is my purpose in life? How do I find my purpose? Does human design help people sort of discover that or?
Absolutely, it does. So it tells me what my gifts and challenges are, and helps me understand that my gifts are like the flip side of my challenges. Mm-hmm. So if there is something that I have difficulty with or don't like that person who I was talking about, helping her understand, oh, you know what, this is my gift, my greatest gift, enabled her to turn it around. So the easiest way to explain this is to use my chart.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's like, here's my chart, and I'm not going to explain the specifics about how we get there other than to talk about this one black 26 right there. See that?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the conscious sun.
Mm.
So it's where the sun was at the time I was born. And the conscious sun tells me a huge amount about who I am and what I am doing all of the time.
Yeah.
So for me, the conscious sun is the gate 26. And this is the gate of truth and integrity, or the absence of truth and integrity.
Right.
And when I learned about this, when I had my first reading, and she helped me understand that this is what I'm doing all the time, it made absolute sense. Because no matter what I am doing, I am always trying to have there be more truth and integrity.
Yeah.
Right? I want to make things better. I want my client to feel better, to be happier, to have more of what they want, to be able to live their purpose in their life, as opposed to feeling like they're not living their purpose. Doing body work. I want somebody's pain to be decreased, or for them to have more function. So it's like, no matter what I am doing, I am helping there to be more truth and integrity in the world. But what also is really in my face a lot of times is when truth and integrity is absent.
Yeah.
Or things are not the way I want them to be.
Yeah.
So I'm seriously a perfectionist, right? I'm really picky. Things need to be all my way.
I can relate.
And I get stopped all the time because I don't feel like I'm doing it well enough, or I don't know how. So it's like the absence of truth and integrity sometimes is really in my face. And recognizing, oh, this is me with an opportunity to give my gift here.
Right.
Helps me to see this thing that I can choose to see as a problem.
Yeah.
I can mostly see it as a gift.
It almost sounds like human design helps you to embrace you for who you really are. Even the things that you perceive as weaknesses, or be like your client, she really didn't like that people were coming to her, but it actually is a gift. So it actually sounds to me, it's like it's this thing that helps you to discover who you really are, embrace all aspects of you. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is there science behind human design? Because I know with astrology, a lot of people are like very skeptical that they're like, how can there be 12 different type of personalities? But I know it's statistics. It's actually, there's like a whole, it's actually the science behind astrology. Is there science behind human design?
There might be people who say it from a scientific perspective. I don't personally look at it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, just the fact that the planets actually do have an impact on life, to me, that's scientific.
Right. Yeah.
To me, energy is scientific.
Yeah.
Not everybody, Caltech professors, they might not necessarily look at it as scientific that way. In human design, we think of it that the stardust sprinkles down into us and imprints this planetary pattern onto me. Yeah. So from the quantum mechanics, quantum science perspective, if you look at that as being science, then it's scientific, not like, beakers or, calculations per se. So to that extent, I guess you can say, it's scientific. But for me, as someone who studied science, when I first started doing energy work, and this transfers over to human design, right, I had to come to terms with, right, because for me, with a science education, it's logical, proof, all of that kind of stuff, and energy work and human design are not provable in quite the same way, scientific experiment way. So I had to come to terms with that. Like, there is something that works. Like, this really works to explain life and to help people understand themselves and be happier and more on purpose, doing what they really want and need to do. So it's like, that's results. So I had to come to terms with that. way back when I started doing massage and energy work.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? The science part likes the logic, but it's like in reality, it just works.
Right. So what does a session entail? So someone comes to you, because you also like to complement your readings with, there's an option to complement it with Biofield Tuning. So how does that work, and do they work together? So if I were to come to you to do a reading, can you walk me through what the process would be like?
For a reading, I give you the chart, I send you the chart, and the way I like to do it is find out what you're struggling with.
Right.
What questions you have, what you want to know, so that I can target what I say about the chart to what you already know you have an interest in it. So, and ideally, I would also cover the basic stuff about the chart. Personally, I'm not very good about always getting all the basics done, because I really like jumping off into all the details.
Yeah.
So it's like there are 64 of these 64 of these numbers and 64 of these different colored lines, right? They're not all going to be colored in on everybody's chart, but the 64 lines.
Yeah.
And those are what give the specific qualities, specific flavors, specific themes in the person's life. And so the basic stuff is talking about the part of the chart that talks about type and strategy, right? So it's like, I'll start talking about that, but then I'll jump off into the details of the specific things, because that's, to me, what's most fascinating and interesting.
Yeah.
And that's where I am also able to see the whole chart as it pulls together into a theme for the person's life. So typically in a reading, we would cover the basic stuff so that you understand the things that are most important to understand. Type, strategy, how you're designed to make decisions and get into things and get engaged with things. It's also a good idea to talk about particular challenges that the person might have. And then when possible, I like to also give a person a sense of their purpose and why they're here.
Amazing. So I hear a lot of people say, like, oh, I keep attracting the same type of people or the same type of events. So human design can help them discover the reasoning behind why that is happening and help them to develop strategies to navigate those, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the things that are colored or defined in the chart are what we call defined, right? So it's like, you see that there's things on the chart that are colored, defined, and then things that are white or undefined.
Okay.
Right? So the things that are colored tell you what themes are going to be in your life.
Oh, okay.
The sorts of opportunities you're going to attract.
Okay.
The sorts of things that you're going to have come to you in your relationships. The sorts of lessons you're here to learn. And the ways that you're here to contribute.
And what about the white part, the undefined?
The white, so the areas where it's colored.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my own consistent energy, and I send that out into the world.
Okay.
The places where it's white, I take energy in from other people and the world.
Okay. Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. And of course, each person's chart is different.
Yeah.
So we've all heard, it's like you have your own unique being, your own unique gifts and contribution.
Yeah.
This shows all of that.
And what do you need to do a human design reading? You need your, I guess, birth date, birth time,
birth date, birth time, and where you were born.
Cool.
Now, a lot of people don't know their birth time. So if you don't know your birth time, then morning, afternoon, or evening narrows it down. And if we don't have even that, some people just don't have any idea what time. Then we just run several different times on your birth date, and I ask you questions based on the chart that help to narrow it down. And here's a really interesting story. There's one person I did a reading for who was adopted, and they didn't know for sure when she was born. the mother thought that she had had a boy, and when she woke up in the hospital, they had given her a girl.
Oh, whoa, okay.
So there was some possibility in this rural hospital, little rural hospital, that the baby had been switched.
Yeah.
And so we looked at the charts for, several days before her determined birth date, and found a chart that really fits her experience of herself and her life.
Mm-hmm.
So I have found these charts to be so accurate that I trust that the person's soul knew when to be born, so that the planets would be where they needed to be for the person to have the experience that they're coming here to have.
Oh, wow. I just got the chills.
It's amazing how accurate they are. And so when asking my friend these questions, we came up with one of the charts over the course of like 6 days or whatever that is like, oh, that really describes me.
Mm-hmm. I know you did you read my chart a little bit, and I was like, wow, this is spot on of who I am as a person, the challenges that I have encountered, and I thought that was very interesting. So definitely really wanted to do it in more in-depth reading with you. Speaking of which, we are coming to the end of the chat, but I do want to mention for anyone who is interested in booking a session with Sandra, they can do it on our platform, theholisticpanda.com. And Sandra also offers, you can book a free 15-minute discovery call if you want to learn more about what it entails. But I have one more question. If you were to give a piece of advice to a younger Sandra or someone who is like you, going through what you're going through, they might have gone through, the traditional route, went to university and got a corporate job, but is now sort of like in the phase in their life where they're like, oh, I don't feel like this is my purpose. I'm unhappy at my job. I'm unhappy where I am, but I'm afraid to take the leap. What is your advice to that person?
The most common time I find that people seek human design readings when they're in that place.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with where I am. I know there is some reason why I'm here, but I don't know what it is. And human design is the most powerful vehicle I have ever found to be able to help you understand what your unique contribution is. And then I like combining it with Biofield Tuning, using tuning forks and sound to help integrate the experiences in your life and help you live your purpose. Understand energetically how your purpose lives out.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And everyone who joined, if you have any more questions, DM us. We'll send them to Sandra or book a call with her on the Holistic Panda. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you. Wonderful time with you.
And we'll chat again soon, I'm sure.
Lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.